it's amazing what's in your DNA over the years when you still have a job in your blood, so to speak. So it is learning to adjust to that. But then, so then what happened, this guy, he was mentoring a young woman. She was a Chinese woman, and she wanted to get into digital marketing. So I then gave her access to the tools, and she helped me with a lot of things, and she was, quite grateful for everything. But then COVID hit, and it was just at that time when I started to think about, okay, I need to build a platform so that I can get women on there to share their products and services, etc. So, COVID hit, and then everything changed.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast. We're here on Pat Mesiti's best-selling author podcast, and Deb Talbot is here from secondchapterwomen.com. And Deb was a co-author in a book with Pat called The Path to a New You. And Deb is here to talk to us about what happens when we overcome setbacks, embrace personal growth, and struggle with life after 50. Perhaps it's marriage, divorce, motherhood, career, empty nest, who knows what. But if you're like the average typical human, then you're grappling with your purpose and your self-worth. So Deb is going to tell us what we need to know, what she's discovered about the Second Chapter Women community she's created, and so much more. So Deb, glad to be speaking with you.
Thanks, Robert, for having me. It's an interesting path that I've taken the last few years, and things come and go in your life. But I think what you find is what works for you, what doesn't, and you have to stop and think about where you are in life and whether you're achieving what you want to achieve, because life goes past you so quickly. And that's what I've realised over the last 10 or so years, that, okay, retirement age is creeping closer, and I just don't want to have regrets. I want to make the most of the rest of my life. And so, just the last few years I've been doing a lot of online projects to increase my knowledge, but also help local businesses. And connecting with like-minded people make a big difference when you're on an entrepreneurial journey. So, I'm just keen to help people wherever I can based on what I've learned.
And that's a great attitude, because otherwise, what's the point, right? If you're just putting papers in boxes, if you're just clicking on the computer screen, it might as well be a video game. But if you're actually changing lives and helping people who need it, that's a great drive. That's a great motivator. And I think that you're so right that time accelerates. Like, you think back when you were a kid, you had some summers that felt like decades. And I don't know about you, but whenever I hear about like some old toy or some old movie or TV show, I'm like, oh yeah, like the childhood feels like it's like, 60, 70% of our life. And then as we get older, it's like, oh, another year flew by, right? Another Christmas, another birthday, which gets scary. As you say, when you get towards retirement age, sometimes those pieces of our identity that were so important to us fall away or get taken from us. Health, divorce, possessions, location, people, who knows what. And so you say that in these last few years, you have kind of taken the control back and you've been on this entrepreneurial adventure. So what have you been up to?
Well, I was working on a number of projects with helping local businesses with their online presence. I'd set up a digital marketing agency, just me. And mind you, I do have a full-time job, so it was juggling both of them as well. And it's just something, rather than sit and watch TV, which is just a complete waste of time, I made the decision some years ago that can go out of my life. I need to invest in time on what I want to do and find the path that I'm searching for so that I can help others. So I've had a few clients over the years, and a lot of it has actually been word of mouth. But then I attended a volunteer shelter centre for women, and I think that kind of got my mind thinking about, well, hang on, there's a lot of women out there that may not be at the point of being in a shelter, but there's still a lot of women out there that are searching for something more in their life, and potentially I could help them learn new skills if they're open to learning. I mean, that's the first step. You've got to be open. If you don't have an open mind, it's no good. You've got to be adaptable. And it was just something that I'm realizing one night when I couldn't sleep, that I've got all this stuff on the computer. I'm never going to be able to use it all. And potentially I could help other people who may not be in the situation that they can afford to invest like I've had to. So I'm very grateful for that. But, if they want to learn new skills, then I can provide the resources, and then they can help me deliver services for local businesses with their online presence. So that was the focus that I had. And then I connected with a few people through some networking events. And one person was a business advisor, and I said what I was doing, and I showed him everything on my Trello board about, look at all the products I've got access to, but I can't do it all. And he could see the benefit and thinking, right, well, potentially you could, because he knew what I was thinking with the women who were in the shelter, but also other women that are in a situation that they're not happy in their relationship, not happy in their job, they don't know where they want to go in life. So a whole range of situations that women can be in. And he did think about or suggest that we could set up a charity. And that to me was too overwhelming. I just thought I don't have the capacity to do that as well, while I'm still working my full-time job, because my job is what helps finance what I'm trying to do for my future. And so, I always make sure I give 110% for my work. But then when I leave work, I put the entrepreneurial hat on, and my mindset can be quite different to what I am in the office job. But it's amazing what's in your DNA over the years when you still have a job in your blood, so to speak. So it is learning to adjust to that. But then, so then what happened, this guy, he was mentoring a young woman. She was a Chinese woman, and she wanted to get into digital marketing. So I then gave her access to the tools, and she helped me with a lot of things, and she was, quite grateful for everything. But then COVID hit, and it was just at that time when I started to think about, okay, I need to build a platform so that I can get women on there to share their products and services, etc. So, COVID hit, and then everything changed. My focus was, not on that. And I did actually do a digital marketing course. It was a 6-month course, so that was my focus at that point as well. And but what happened was that with connecting with like-minded people during the COVID era, it expanded my network, and there were other people that were looking for assistance with online solutions, and I just knew I could help them. So I basically did a lot of stuff for nothing, but it was because I had it in me. I don't watch the clock to see how long have I spent on this. I just get into things and just do it because I want to achieve the outcome that's required for a problem. Just over the last few years, I connected with someone within the network who has actually been on the same path as me. And it's interesting, over the previous years when I was doing some network marketing, I thought that Adelaide, because I don't know if you know where Adelaide is in South Australia, but it's quite like a big country town. And it just seems quite sleepy. I think, no one can be doing what I'm doing. I must be the only one here in South Australia. But when I connected with this guy who's also in the second chapter of his life and realised, wow, like there is someone else out there, and we've become really good friends, and we've worked together on numerous projects. So we've built business directories, we've built websites, we're right into the leading edge or, cutting edge technology that's out there, because everything keeps changing and adapting in the technical field. So yeah, we bounce ideas off each other, and he's got skills in areas I don't have, and vice versa, and we just work as a team. And that's something that I've realised is, in the early part of when I started this online journey, I was doing a lot by myself and just feeling like isolated and in my own bubble. But once you connect with someone who's on the same path, and not everyone's fortunate to find that, but that's where I figured that women need support. Men do too, it depends what they're doing, sort of thing, in their online field. But women, they just, when they get together, they talk and, they connect. And I just think that's what we're lacking in society these days, is that connection. Technology is great, but it can separate you from connecting with people. So yeah, that's just something that I've um, grown over the years, and how much I've grown over the years is quite amazing, because I was very quiet and yeah, very quiet person, scared to step out of my comfort zone. So, and this is once again stepping out of my comfort zone, what I'm doing now. Like, you would think I'd be doing this podcast. So yeah,
But you've done it, and I'm glad that you
yeah,
have. And there's like 7 really great life lessons in there. And I think that even like what we're doing here kind of relates to your message, right? That it's not good to be isolated, to be alone. And that
oh,
especially applies to if you're like just watching TV, right? That's an alone activity. That's not really providing value to others and to humanity. It's not getting you excited. It's not getting other people thinking. We need to be networking. We need to be involving other people to figure out whose problems we can solve, and
yep,
also maybe who can help do the work, or who can be part of the team, or who can connect us to other people. There's so much greatness in just that simple idea of
mm,
connecting with others. And so I'm really curious about the details about what you provide, because you mentioned about like you started off by helping the local businesses, and you do all this like digital marketing, cutting edge stuff. And whenever some business looks into digital marketing, it's so easy to get overwhelmed, right, by
oh
looking at
yeah,
like SEO and social posting and AI and podcasting. But like, would
yep.
you say, is there any low hanging fruit? Are there like 1 or 2 things that are simple that businesses just aren't doing, that maybe it shocks you, like so many businesses aren't doing something that is maybe simple for you and me?
I think it is understanding the bigger picture and what it is they're trying to achieve, but also being organised. That's something that I have in my system, that I like to be organised. So the information that comes in that I'm having access to, and local businesses would be the same. They're overwhelmed. They want to get on with what they're trying to do for their business, but there's a lot of back end stuff that needs to be done. And if you're not organised so that you have systems and structure in place, and have access to that information when you need it, it can be overwhelming. You're spending a lot of time looking for something that, it shouldn't take that long. So if you plan out, and that's something that I do help with local businesses and just women who want to start a business, is plan out. I use Trello, and that has been the best solution for me over the years, so that you don't have the overwhelm feeling of where is this information, and then you can plan out. So it's having a strategy, but it's working out what are the pain points for the individual and connecting with them emotionally first, so that then it's not a one size fits all. It's really targeting what is their pain point to find a quick win. So I don't really have an answer as such, because everyone's different. The businesses are different. The situation of where they are in their business is different. But once I connect with them, then I can sort of say, it could be a budget issue. Okay, what have you got in place at the moment that we can leverage from, so that you can go the next step, rather than start something totally new and they just, it can be overwhelming. So I try to understand where they're at first, and then work out where is the quick win, so that they feel like they're achieving something.
Okay, fair enough. So you look at the big picture and say, where are you frustrated? Where are you falling short in connecting with those customers? And then you then fill in the gap and make that possible for you. And so that's great that you provide this service and that you help these people. And in your and it's a great lesson as well about being organized. Like you have the
Mm.
some kind of organizing behind you on camera there, and you talk about the Trello boards. And something that blew me away recently was someone saying that, like some of these keywords get thrown around, like the word system, and the system does not have to be complicated. And I was like, that's so right. It can just be a way to keep things organized and say like, hey, here's my customer journey. And it seems like these businesses, they get that idea already, right? They wouldn't be in business otherwise. They have to like pay their taxes and have their business license, and they know that when a customer comes into their storefront, there's a step-by-step process, and it happens the same every time. It happens quickly, and if it didn't, their business would be a disorganized mess, and they'd be out of business. And so they get this, but perhaps they need to do what you're saying and just figure out these quick wins and applying digital marketing to get more customers to the door, make the business more consistent, or these sorts of things. And so we only have about 5 or so minutes to have this conversation that we're having. And so in your journey and all the things you figured out, right? The business owners you've spoken to, the women who are kind of on the path to the shelter that need some employment, need some help. Is there anything that has maybe shocked and surprised you? Has there been anything that kind of completely made you pivot, change your direction?
I think the biggest thing for me, reflecting the last 10 years, is how much technology has changed, and what worked even a year ago, like AI's come into play now. Things are totally different, but it's making use of what tools are available, but you don't know what you don't know. So I think for me, it is about being adaptable and having an open mind, and accept when things aren't working. Okay, how do I fix this so that you can keep moving the needle? It's when you have analysis paralysis that, that's the overwhelmed feeling. You don't know where to turn. But it's also making sure that you have someone who supports you, what you're doing, but also sharing knowledge, because keeping knowledge to yourself is not helping anyone. And I've realized that if you can empower others, it actually empowers yourself. So it is a growth mindset that I've learnt, and surprised me how much I've grown as a person through the years.
And I love that. And I'm proud of you. And I am also a supporter of that growth mindset because there's so much involved with that, right? The forward momentum, the focus, the saying no to what doesn't serve you, the always
Exactly.
learning, and also not being selfish with your learning. It's like when you think about an airplane, say there's like a million different parts. And if you looked at the way that these million parts could connect to these other million parts, you drive yourself crazy with the analysis paralysis. But then if you had a blueprint of how the pieces fit together, there's only one way that that can happen, and if they don't fit together properly, the airplane won't fly. And so it seems like that's the difference between being stuck in learning mode and maybe a little bit of perfectionism, procrastination, delaying, versus saying, hey, here's my plan. I know that my time is limited because I have my other obligations, and if I stop watching TV, like the average person, I'll free up 44 hours a week to focus on something. And then but I can't do it alone, so I need some other experts in my corner, because if I waste all this time looking up and researching, learning and reading the books, by the time I learn it, the speed at which things change, then that information will be out the window. So I need some people in my corner to answer the questions, to point me in the right direction, to say, hey, you need a Trello board for this, or here's how to set up that Trello board, or here's how to find the answer for that. And so as far as someone jumping on this train with you, taking some next steps, what can they do to find out more about Second Chapter Women, and how do they know if they're a good fit for it?
Okay, so I've recently launched the website, and at this point, I'm just looking for people to register their interest. They can. There's a button on the homepage, so or you can just send me a message. But basically, it could be a woman who's got a business looking for additional services. It could be a woman who wants to start a business but don't know where to start. And it could be a woman who is open to support other women, but it's trying to make sure that people are helping each other, and there could be joint ventures that come out of it. You'll be able to promote your courses, your events, your products, your services. But at this point, I'm just looking for register of interest to make sure that there is a need for it out there, and then I can build additional features on the website. And just, yeah, I just think we need something for women specifically. And even though I've got this guy who's in the second chapter of his life, he's very supportive and helpful. And it just makes a huge difference when you're actually connected with other people that want to help each other. And yeah, it's just about connecting, basically.
And I agree with that. And I think that's a great philosophy to have. And I definitely can understand, although not relate to this issue that maybe women have the lesser confidence, but also need to see other people who have blazed the trail before them, and also have this kind of communicating, because we don't all think and communicate in the same way. But for these women who are approaching retirement, saying, well, hey, I'm a little concerned about the speed at which the world is currently moving, and I want to figure out these skills, and I want to provide these services, I want to figure out this digital marketing thing. Don't go it alone. Do it with Deb Talbot and secondchapterwomen.com. And second is spelled in the shortened way, so that's 2ND chapterwomen.com. You can go there, see some a beautiful website, see some amazing information there, and see some blog posts, and just find out about how it works with business owners, business startups, and community supporters. They cater to women who are 50 and beyond, who aspire to launch their own business ventures. And Deb has all these amazing resources. And as she says, she's very organized and well-researched and knows the people who you need to connect with. So that way you can succeed instead of failing, right? Because we've all been there. We've all tried to go it alone. Sometimes you start reading a book and you don't finish it. But if you joined, for example, a book club, or had a community of people who are just as excited, energized as you, rooting for you, on the path with you, that is for sure a path to success. So as people are checking out secondchapterwomen.com, Deb, it's time to put you on the spot a little bit and ask for a little bit of a soundbite, to ask for a quote or lesson that has served you in your business, in your life, in your journey, that you can pass on to us. So what comes to mind for you as far as a fun or interesting or helpful quote or lesson?
I think you need to find your purpose, and it needs to be bigger than yourself. So, yeah, look outside of yourself and see how you can contribute to others, because we're all connected in one way or another.
Very beautiful, very helpful. We need to find that external purpose bigger than ourselves. And you can find out more about Deb Talbot at secondchapterwomen.com. And we also mentioned that she's co-authored with Pat Mesiti in the book, The Path to a New You. And her chapter is called Start Your Second Chapter After Age 50. Deb Talbot, that last name is Talbot. If you're the kind of person that likes to Google search and find out what else she's done, where else she is online. So that's Deb Talbot from secondchapterwomen.com. Wonderful speaking with you today, Deb.
Thank you so much, Robert. I really appreciate it.